night at home. She is doing well. She's got a really bad knee, and she couldn't come in today. She will come in the next time. They're looking for funding for the food pantry. She went to the Ministerial Association, and talked to them, and they will be submitting a funding request. I'm going to send them a form, and that will be asking for something, you know. They said anything they get would be very useful for the food pantry.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Zona Hudson, Extension Office. Not here.
Donna called and wanted me to put her on the agenda, and she went in and called down there, and she's at a conference.
Okay.
And none of them knew about it, so.
Okay. All right. That comes down to Ralph Sandora, consolidation of land. Is our assessor, he was here. I think we need him. We're up to my request for, and I think you need to be present. Okay. So where do I go from here? We got to do this properly.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Sandor has requested consolidation of 3 tracts of his property. According to Chapter 11, Article 4, Sections 17 and 18 of the West Virginia State Code, it allows for the County Commission to consolidate tracts of land, which means he has 3 tracts of land, he gets 3 tax tickets. And within that code, it allows the commission, you petition the commission to consolidate the property. There's very minimal requirements in it. The one requirement is that that each one of the tracts have to be contiguous. They have to touch. You can't have a 5-acre tract here and then a 10-acre tract 3 miles down the road and there's properties between. So Mr. Sandor needed to prove that that his property does touch. He provided a map, a county tax map, showing that that his 108.52, his 2.32, and his 4.91 do all make contact with one another here. So they do all touch. He has provided the necessary information to do this. He has submitted this to the clerk. I don't think he'll be able to vote on this since it directly relates to him. But what it does, instead of him getting 3 tax tickets, he'll get 1 tax ticket for the total acreage instead of each one of these 3 by separate. Like he'll just get a total for a home. And this is done because otherwise he would have to go and have to have a survey done, the deed that would include the whole border of all tracks. So
I need to remove myself from the room.
I don't know. He has to remove himself from the room.
Okay. I won't vote. So I guess I need a motion.
I'll move that the 3 tracks be combined into 1 track.
Motion has been made. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Thank you.
And the clerk will provide that.
You want to take the
Question?
That is a topic that I get voted me all the time by everybody getting a dozen tickets on a piece of property. So I would say you're going to see perhaps many more of these now that it has came to light that this procedure right here can be done. I am contacted quite frequently by people asking me, how can I get all this on the 1 ticket? And up to this point, the best of my knowledge was, I can survey it for you and throw it into 1 track, and they could take it in front of the people of Charleston, and they were going to do that. Now that this process has been, we've been enlightened to it, I would say you would see quite a bit more.
Just if people inquire about that, just make sure you tell them that all the pieces have to touch.
Yes, they have to be contention. Yes, that's the term, contention.
Thank you.
I've got a question to David. By doing that, does that cut down your work and the money by the county spent? Rather than going with 3 or 4 tax tickets, being able just to send 1 ticket out?
There would be, if you looked at it as far as the sheriff sending out 1 tax ticket or 3 tax tickets, it would be very little impact, because most of the time what the sheriff's office, they do is they take the 3 tax tickets and put them together into 1 envelope. So it's not like 3 separate, he's taxed on 3 separate tracks, but it's not that they're 3 envelopes mailed out. So it would just be the postage. But if it was a many tracks that the, I mean, it would, but I've never done a study on it, but I think it would be.
I don't know, how much research went into making sure they got cans, a lot of things into that.
Right. Can I? Good.
I think we need to also let it be known the procedure for doing that.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
Publish that. The paper.
Right. Do they come to you first?
This is a topic, as Mr. Wellings has mentioned, this section of the code, there is very few, as I mentioned earlier, regulations on it as to, just recently there were several emails going around, some emails going around of the assessors about how does your county handle this, because a lot of counties aren't even aware that this is available. So each county kind of has, if they choose to do this, they have their own guidelines that they do this by. I got the impression from the email that there was also some counties that said, we're not getting into this. We're not doing this. So, but we have a form. It's just a form that my office made up that just very simple consolidation of land. It just asks that the person that is applying to this, you know, that they're asking the county commission to do this. They include the maps and parcels, the total acreage, the deed book and page number where that they purchased the property, and then they sign it that they're submitting to this to be done. And then it's up to the county commission to approve it. Like I said, really the only thing is that all three, or however many tracks there are, they all have to touch. Now, the thing that people will call my office about is, well, somehow thinking that because they have a 50-acre tract and a 50-acre tract and a 50-acre tract, that now we're going to combine that into one tax ticket and it's going to be 150 acres and my taxes are going to be less. That's not the case. But some people, that's the thinking they have. If they combine those tracts, their taxes are going to be less. Under normal circumstances, that is not correct. It is just that you are still assessed for 150 acres, whether it's in 2 tracts or 3 tracts or however many tracts, you'll still be assessed for that amount of acres.
I wonder, would the mortgaging have an effect on that? For example, someone may own 100 acres and they may have a 1-acre tract where they have their home, and their home is mortgaged, but the other is not. I wonder what that would.
I do not know, but I can see where that would cause an issue, because the question that came up in the discussion of the assessors was, since there's really not a lot of direction on this, what do we do with the tax maps? Okay, here is these different tracts that combine. Well, each one of them are assigned a map and a parcel number. So some counties take out the lines. Our practice is we take out the lines, but we put dotted lines in there. That when Mr. Wellings is looking at it, he knows that he'll look at the deed, because your deed hasn't changed. Your legal document that's on file in the clerk's office hasn't changed. It's still going to call for 10 acres. So what we've made is just to dot those lines and not make them solid. So there are issues, I'm sure, with it, and I believe that's probably why some counties maybe were backing away from that a little bit. Well, we're not really sure. The only time that there is a tax benefit from it is if it's a large tract of land and you involve farm use values. Then your consolidation could come into your values being assessed lower, which lower values usually equals lower taxes.
Does this same regulation apply to mineral properties?
No. This is consolidation of land.
Surface.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Dan.
I don't believe that the instance Greg was referring to, whereas if they just carved out an acre around the house for mortgage purposes, I don't believe that they could consolidate that in underneath. I haven't got to read what you've got there yet, but surely there's something in there where this lending institution would have some say, I would think, in that or whatever. You know, they have an interest in that 1 acre now. It's not just yours to consolidate with the rest of the farm. And the reason that most of the time this is done, is my understanding, because most of these institutions do not want to have a mortgage on the whole farm. They don't want to have a mortgage on more than a few acres to 10 or 20 acres at the most or something. And they are requiring these individuals to carve this out. It's not that they're doing it by choice. They're saying, this is all more of your farm that we want to have a mortgage on.
And with this consolidation of land is really nothing that goes through my office. There's, in this section of the code, I don't believe there's anything that calls for the assessor. It's a commission decision, but we have the maps and have the deed book and page numbers and have the information. It's kind of like the building permit thing that we hand them out. Well, it's kind of the same way with this. With the consolidation approval, we would hand them out and the information would be given, but it's a commission's decision as to whether it has nothing to do with whether I think it should be consolidated or not.
Do you have a question, Marion?
I have a comment. One thing I would caution people about if they're looking at consolidating land, because with the Marcellus shale drilling that's going on in the county, if you have several parcels, if you have a parcel that's directly like close to a drilling site or across from a drilling site, if you decide to sell that parcel, you might have issues with someone getting a mortgage on that property. So you might want to exercise some caution and watch what's going on around you, because it might affect what you can do if you try to sell.
Thank you. Okay. We'll move on to Cross Sablers Stable Funding.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you all need extra copies of my letter that I sent?
Are you-
Yes, that would be nice.
I'm gonna just pass this. I'm an obstacle course here. Pass these two. I think you'll want to see the faces of the animals that we've saved last year, and I think once you see the faces, then it becomes a lot more personal, especially to me. But I've been here in the county for 17 years. We've been doing the second wind adoption program for that many years. We started the same time that Donna Francisco started and the Humane Society started. And we've placed 2,633 animals. Donna's placed about 1,600. And I don't really know what the Humane Society has done. But this is the first time that I've come forward for funding. And I think my request is pretty straightforward. We're asking for $12,000, and that's $1,000 a month. And basically what would happen is that would go straight to Noel's feed. I've talked to Francis. He can do that very easily. Basically all that would do is fund our feed, our shots, all the basic care, deworming. We do 2 sets of shots and 2 dewormings. We do a lot of house training. We train the horses when we bring horses in. Oh, somebody told me I just need to introduce myself. I'm Salita Kramer. I am from West Virginia, even though I wasn't born in Doddridge County. I went to school in West Virginia. I spent 23 years in the military and landed here, so this is home. And anyway, basically what we would do, we would just have a sign-in sheet where people would go into Knowles, and we would be able to collect the things we need to collect to be able to do our work and to take care of the animals. Now, Jean spays and neuters all of the animals that Rodney brings to me. We've been doing this for a year now. Rodney's been bringing all the county dogs to us, or at least all the ones that I can take. If I'm full, then he's got some hard decisions to make. But he does a bit of an evaluation on the animals. All of our animals do live together. We are socializing them at the same time that they're getting healthy, getting trained, and then we screen adopters and place them in the homes. I like to have all of our animals spayed, because if we don't, we send one dog out and then we've got a 10-dog problem. So all of them get spayed and neutered before they leave. It is a state statute, for those who don't know, that every dog that goes out of a shelter or a rescue, according to the state statute, must be spayed or neutered. And or if it's under the age of the spay-neuter age, there has to be some sort of an agreement with the adopter that states that the dog will be spayed or neutered within 4 months. So that's the state law. So we try to get all of ours done. I found in the past that a lot of people, even though they sign something that says that they'll do it, a lot of times it doesn't get done. So you still have the problem of overpopulation, which ends up being a money problem for counties. Now the state spends about $8 million a year on animal control. In the 50 counties, that's $144,000. And if you look at past years and the statistics, you see that the money is going up even more than the cost of living increases. And what was happening was a lot of people were placing dogs without getting them fixed. And what they were doing was increasing their problem. especially if they were placing the dogs in the county. So we really push the spay neuter because it will control our dollars, and to the point where we won't continue to see this constant increase of expenses. Like you look at some of the counties that I've taken dogs from, like Mercer County. Mercer County has a budget of $350,000 for their animal control. So that's years of allowing dogs to go out without being spayed or neutered. And obviously it becomes a huge problem. So the spay neuter is very critical. It's not only critical for the population, but for the health of the dog. And also we push the deworming and the shots, because not only can loose dogs infect pets, people's pets, but there are some things that you can catch from dogs. Parasites is a good example of that. So we try to take care of those things, so we try to put a healthy dog and a trained dog or cat into a home. And so my thing, when you look at those faces, is to take in every possible dog or cat that I can take in, that I can handle, and try to make it as marketable as I possibly can, and make it trained enough that it will stay in that home. So that way it's not going to end up becoming another loose dog somewhere. So we're in a shelter. Basically the $8 million, with the $8 million that the state spends, they bring in 144,000 animals into animal control in the state, and about half of those right now are euthanized. To me, that's not a good number. So my thing is to try to save as many of those that I can possibly save without jeopardizing the care of the animals that I already have. So what my plan is pretty simple. We've never asked before, but the economy is kind of driving us to the point where we really need the help, and so we humbly ask for assistance. And it gives you complete accountability. The money is right there. If we don't use it one month, it's going to be there the next month. You can see I think I put sign-in sheets and receipts and everything, so you can see what exactly has been taken out of there, what exactly is being used. And last year we placed 133 dogs and 12 cats. The cat program is kind of just starting to come along. Basically, I just put cats in the barn, so it's not like I have a big facility for cats. So I do have to have them spayed and neutered before they come to me. I do try to litter train them and that sort of thing, but it's a problem that we're just starting to get into. But Rodney brings the dogs to me, and I take care of them. So it's pretty simple. To me, as a county, what I hope that we can do is to continue to support the spay and neuter program too, because if we don't, we're going to be in Mercer County. We're going to see these huge budgets with hundreds and hundreds of animals, and I don't think we want to go there. I think we want to stop the problem before it gets to that point. And I think we're even seeing a big change in the loose animals and that sort of thing. So last year I took about 80 from this county. The others came from other counties. For a long time, all the different counties would call me and ask me to take animals. Some shelters would bring entire loads of dogs to us. Now I'm just supporting Doddridge County. So it's just, I've turned down the others, and I'm here for the county.
I have asked Second Wind to, just strictly focus on Doddridge County, simply because my phone is like the Humane Society number, and I believe that even some of the county commissioners have given it out. But at any point, I'm trying to do the spay and neuter program, but there's so many situations where people will have cats or dogs or something, and we need something right away. Rodney has been using her, I have been using her, and we are starting to working on some of the cat situations. I believe that if you talk to a lot of people in the county, there aren't as many dumps. There's not as many dogs being born out there to be dumped in isolated outer areas. It is still going on, okay? I'm not going to say we've stopped it, but it is easing up a little bit, and we are starting to work on cats. But like she said, we don't have shelters. I have a foster sitting next to me that takes in the cats until I get them spayed and neutered. I will not allow any animal to leave either facility without, or any of my fosters, without being spayed and neutered, because you let one dog leave out, you're going to have 10 in about 6 months floating around this county. And the same with the cat. In just 6 months, you're going to have over 30 cats floating around. So we are working hard on it, and she, like she said, she is taking them, and we do take them and put them down in the lounge in her barn because of the dog situation. But I support Second Wind completely, and the Dodgers Animal Control, the spay neuter program, and Second Wind Adoption has been working closely together for the last year and the year before that, kind of sketchy. Because the warden at that point was taking them all to her house, which it was great, but I wasn't all on board. But anyway, it was helping the situation. But at any rate, I think the county does have something going on. We don't have anything else. We don't, and we've got a lot of good people out there that are willing to take a dog and foster it, or a cat, and provide the food and all this kind of stuff, and that's because we don't have a humane society, that's their donation to the animal world, and it seems to be working for the moment. You know, in the future, I do hope that things change, and I am looking into it personally.
Yeah, our facility is far from a shelter. I think you all have the pictures of what my setup is. All the dogs are in crates. They start in crate training. I kind of move them into the kennel, and as they go along, they kind of graduate into the house to know that they're socialized, to know that they can live in a house and be in a family and get to know the schedule and not use the bathroom and all the things that a dog really needs to do to be successful in a home. But it's not perfect, and we have that 5-acre yard that's fenced. Sometimes I have really big dogs that turn into jumpers. So I have a wireless electrical system that takes care of those dogs. So it is definitely a full-time job, but I mean, you look at those faces, and if you have any heart for innocent animals, it just, to me, we just have to help them.
So I want to personally thank you for all your time and hard work that you do in the county for the animals, and it helps the county. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Can I ask a question? This is a technical question about the form.
Okay.
So I understand that the purchasers can be the Doddridge County collection officer, or spay and neuter, or Second Wind, because I don't see that, and they would be listed over here. So
Yeah, that would be my recommendations, because Rodney does at times keep dogs for an extended period. I don't know whether it has worked out for the county, or if the county pays for that. I like to get all the inoculations done as soon as the dog comes to us, because there's a window there where they're still at risk for parvo and distemper and all the things that'll kill an animal. So we try to get those things done as soon as they walk through the door, and that's really why I wanted to, because Jean takes a lot of the county animals too, and I really want those things available to them so we can have healthy animals and put healthy animals out.
Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
How much of a discount are they going to give?
I didn't really ask for a discount.
I see a commission discount.
Yeah, he said $1 for a bag, I think. At one time he told me that. He said, you know, and I said, Francis, we're not asking you for that. You know, we know you're a business in the county, and you know, by supporting that, I think the county is supporting a local business as well. I do take dogs in my home. I do not use any money whatsoever out of my spay and neuter program to house or feed any county animals. I personally do that. The only money that my spay and neuter program pays for vet bills and fuel and to keep that wagon rolling. And it is open. Once we take all the county, I'll put 7 county dogs, big dogs or little dogs or whatever. All the dogs I can get in there, right? And if that's all Rodney and her have, then the rest of the county can put theirs on there for that low cost. And you are providing for the entire county. And I'm not sure if everybody in the county knows about it. I've done my best to put up flyers and get it in the paper, but it is open to every resident in Doddridge County.
Okay, Linda?
One other observation.
Yes, ma'am.
You might, on your form, I think your sales tax would be applied after the commission discount. I don't, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Linda?
Yes, I'd like to back them up because as you know, I live right on the edge of 50, and I've lived here for 31 years. I've had so much problems with animals being dropped off right at Arnold's Creek, and they come into my yard. I have noticed a major difference in the amount of animals that have been dropped off by my house. I rarely get cats or dogs anymore, and when I do get cats, I will take them in, and I usually bring them to Jean to have everything taken care of and try to get a little donation on top of the cost. But I think it's a very worthwhile program, and it's not the fault of these animals.
Thank you. Excuse me, are you finished? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
You have to fill out a funding request form for us.
Okay.
And I'm not so sure we can do what you're asking us to do with the money for Knowles Hardware. Can we do that, or is this?
I'm not sure I understand what she's wanting.
It's basically a kitty, $1,000 a month that goes to Knowles. He would basically keep a log of the people that are on the signature card that are allowed to buy for us, and then basically if there's any money left over, it will just roll into the next month. So to me, it gives you accountability. We've been doing it with the horses at foster fees for probably 15 years. It gives you a chance to see what came in, what was the donation, and there's a central location. Even if people are going to donate, I feel, and I want them to know where the money is going and that I'm spending it on the animals. And this is where it is.
The reason, I think what she's trying to do is run a tab. She does not want the $1,000, and nor do you need to give it to Knowles, but an allowance of up to $1,000 per month, $12,000 a year, for county dogs. She can go and purchase her vaccines, as needed. Okay, so say we only have, this is crazy to say, but only we have 20 dogs by month, or say 5 dogs or something, and she doesn't use all that money. You're not paying that $1,000. The money, you're only going to pay for what Knowles has, what she's went and picked up and used.
Knowles is going to have to send us a statement once a month.
Right.
We have to have that.
Yeah.
Right, and he's agreed to that. He told me that he runs that with Rodney because Rodney does house. Rodney will go out and pick up 6 big dogs in one day. Well, she can't take them all, and I'm totally full. So he'll hold them. If he thinks it's a really nice dog that we can do something with, he will hold it. And that's where he gets why he brings it.
And then he'll take it to the spay truck, and then I'll pick it up.
Go ahead.
Rod, we do pay for the food that Rodney uses.
Right.
Okay, this would need to be set up separate from what he does.
Right, and I agree.
And we cannot pay for anything in advance, we have to
Right.
pay it afterwards.
Okay.
And so we'd have to be billed, and we have to keep those slips.
Right.
Knowles gives out slips, they do not send them to me, they send me a total. And those people have to bring those slips to me.
Okay, so I would need to collect the slips and just send them in, or?
I'd have to have them before I can pay the bill, because all I have is a total, it does not break it down. And he bills
Okay.
us.
Gotcha.
All right.
Tammy?
Okay, Beth just mentioned Rodney. Why not increase his line item to include these funds to where he could buy the food at Knowles and let him have it because he's already got the card.
You have people beyond Rodney that appear to be intended to be covered by this. Okay. Spay and neuter and second wind adoption.
That's us.
Jean?
The reason that it is separated, and I have taken, since I've started this program in 2009, the stuff that I've heard said about me from different county people who oppose it, there's very few anymore that say anything negative. Most of what I hear about the program is positive, but every now and again you'll hear people say, oh yeah, she feeds all her dogs with that, or she buys her Frontline. Absolutely untrue, and that is what we are trying to alleviate is the community. We're trying to help the animals and alleviate accusations and things of fraud in that nature, because that is what's happening. As I'm trying to put some kind of animal welfare program together for this county, I'm learning when I'm talking to these different individuals and different animal people, nobody trusts each other. And we don't need 3,000 501(c)(3)s running around here. We need to have the county and new residents moving into this county to call one phone number or look at one site for lost animals, found animals, help for your animals. You know, oh my gosh, somebody threw 10 cats out here, what am I going to do? To be able to look at this site, and this is easy, you know, or if you're borderline, you look at this site and you're going to find Ritchie's number and you're going to find Harrison County's number, because your dog can end up anywhere. And I want this available to the county people. So I am trying to instill an animal welfare program, and the going has been like a nightmare. I mean, I started out as a hobby, and I feel like I'm into a full-time job. And my phone, I get calls for everything.